Nuno Bettencourt. Welcome to noise11.com, and looking forward to seeing you back in Australia for the first time since, what, 2018? It wasn't that long back.
Not too bad. Not too bad. It wasn't like it was back in the 1900s or anything. It was, we were there decently before this this crazy lockdown we had. So not bad. I mean, the album would have been out earlier if it wasn't for the crazy lockdown, but we wanted to wait. We didn't want to be another soundtrack for the old pandemic. We wanted to kind of celebrate this and actually be able to tour, so we waited a bit.
Well, you can't really blame the pandemic for the album taking so long to come out, can you? I mean, we were hearing about this record in 2016 and 2010. This,
yeah, you're absolutely correct.
It wouldn't have been on Guns N' Roses with this record.
We tried to. That's the main reason we wanted to wait. Is I wanted to beat that record, and I think we succeeded. Of how long it took. But look, we had, it wasn't all a lie. We had enough music for an album in 3-4 different times in the last 10 years. But I just, to my financial detriments, it would have been better to put out albums. But I don't know. I never wanted to put anything out that I wasn't 1000% put your head on the pillow and proud of it, excited about it, wanted to share. I didn't want it to put something out just for a reason to tour, a reason to make some money. I'm sure my bandmates felt a bit different. They hated me for that, but everything that we've ever put out, I've always told Gary, I want it to mean something. I want to be able to say something and have songs that we're absolutely proud of, and that's what this was. Whether people like it or not, that's what we wanted to do.
So had the album come out in 2016, or had it come out in 2010 or 11 for that matter, are any of the songs from Six from that far back?
No, I mean, that's my point. I think if we had enough material, then that really turned us on. Look, people might hear what we didn't release and they go like, "What are you guys crazy? That's better than this." Who knows? But for us, it's really, at the end of the day, it's got to be a bubble, self-centered, thing that that you really believe in what you're releasing, and really, it's this feeling that you get. Somebody asked me like, "Well, how do you know if a song's better?" It's more about a feeling that you have that I equated to being almost like 12 years old again, where when you first wrote a song or you played something and you just couldn't wait to show your brother or a bandmate, you're that giddy enough to go to share it. And that's really the feeling that you wait for, is just like, yeah, you could be that guy that loves everything you do and it might be okay. But for me, until that tingle happens where you're like, I can't wait to play this for you, or actually have the guts to call up a Tom Morello or a friend of mine going, "Hey, can I play you something?" And just to see what they think. Like when you get to that point where you play for your peers or some of your heroes, then you're ready. You kind of get that courage,
Yeah, but somewhere down the track, maybe the year 2037, the missing Extreme album will surface.
Why not? Hey, that might be the next one. We might just make it quick and then go back to the other stuff, release something in 6 months. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I think it was the Tattoo You album by the Rolling Stones. It was just all, pieced together from leftovers from the previous decade. So, who knows? Anything could happen with you guys.
It worked.
You've had the opportunity to start playing some of these songs live. I think Rebel, Rise, Banshee have all made it into the set list now. And, when I listen to this record, there's a whole lot of songs like Small Town Beautiful, The Mask, Other Side of the Rainbow. Everything seems to sound like it should be part of a set list. How are you going to overcome that problem?
I love that you said that, because it kind of lends to what I was saying earlier about releasing an album. And when I say releasing an album that's worth anything, it's that curation of something that's from top to bottom, that you can put a pair of headphones on, take a drive in your car, and actually hear an album. And you don't have to love everything that happens, but it feels like a set list. It feels like something that you curated, that has the right stops and goes and lefts and right turns, just enough to keep you interested in going, oh, that was, didn't see that coming or this coming, but still you kind of finish watching a set list. And it's the reason why we released Rise first and those first 3 songs, because they were the first 3 songs in the set list. And so, when the label said, what do you want to be for the first single? I said, well, Rise is first for a reason on the album. Why wouldn't it be, the first song to share with with our fans? And, but you're right. I actually got excited enough that I talked to the band at one point. It's never going to happen, but I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to just, before we do the run, actually do a couple of major city gigs of just doing the album from top to bottom, and just, I don't know, because it is kind of fun. We're excited about it in that way. And it's going to be a pain, like you said, because two things always happen. Most of the time when an artist comes and does new songs off the new album, it's like concession stands are now open. You know, people hit the toilets, they go get a beer, and they want to hear your old stuff. Nobody wants to hear a band's new stuff. In this case, we seem to be getting a lot of love or hate that why didn't you guys play more of the stuff off the album? But I think the more we do, people are still going to be upset that we took old stuff off. So we're trying to find the best balance, maybe 4 or 5 songs, maybe 5 songs off the new one. I don't know.
There's one beautiful song on this album that I absolutely adored. It was Hurricane, which to me, that's the best song Crosby, Stills and Nash never wrote.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that because it definitely came from that, those influences of, Lennon, McCartney, Everly Brothers, but definitely the first thing we mentioned with those zoos and those odds was Crosby, Stills and Nash. We were like, it has that folky sort of feel. And we didn't even really have a hook or a chorus. I just started doing these oohs and I'm like, well, there it is. It was just a feeling, and that song, meant a lot because it was written on behalf of a friend of mine. I was on tour with Extreme in Asia. We were about to play play Taiwan for the first time in 30 something years. And I had gotten a call. I was up watching, I don't know if it was Champions League or the World Cup. Portugal was playing, and I was up by myself at 3 a.m. and I got this call that one of my best friends passed away in a motorcycle accident. And I just flew home. I never did the show. Kind of, sad that I didn't get to play. But so, that song was written about, what everybody can relate to, losing somebody, whether it's your mom, or whether it's a brother or somebody, your best friend. And the storm before the calm, as we called it on the song.
There's another song on there that I want to talk to you about, Beautiful Girls, which is a real curveball. This is like Extreme recording a pop song.
Yeah. Well, I think we always had those kind of borderline left turn pop song. Look, if you look, I guess More Than Words is considered a pop song because it went to #1 like globally, and then Wholehearted kind of followed as a bit of another pop song for its day. But I think we always had those left and right turns like Beautiful Girls and even When I First Kissed You on the Porno album, where you kind of went, oh, okay. We don't generally sound a lot like Queen. We have those influences, but we definitely took on that philosophy of like, do whatever the F you want to do. You know what I mean? And the best songs always win with us. We don't get afraid of writing a song like Beautiful Girls and going, can we really do this? Can we put this on the album? It's more like the more we shouldn't, the more we get excited about it. And I love those. We call them we got this B list of tracks that they're these dangerous kind of like left field tracks that everybody's like, really, guys? Really? And then they become these little favorites. Like More Than Words was way before MTV Unplugged, and nobody knew what to do with that one. The record company didn't know what to do. They didn't think it was a single. Where are we going to play this? But me and Gary have always been like, look, let's run into the burning building while everybody's going the other way. Why not, rile things up a little bit? Like all the bands that we grew up did, even Zeppelin with Zepp 3, and they did like that acoustic album, or even Queen always took those left and right turns. And even sometimes with Van Halen, they would do this, Could This Be Magic or Ice Cream Man. And it was like, what? But very cool and fun. And I think that shows the diversity of not on purpose. We don't do that because you can be one of the greatest bands in the world like AC/DC and not have to do that. And still every song will rock on the album and everything is awesome. It's not about being straightforward or not. It's just being yourselves, right? And not being afraid to be yourselves.
Yeah. You mentioned Van Halen there. We did have that diversion at that point when Gary went off as the lead singer of Van Halen for an album and actually came to Australia. We had that tour. That was the one and only time Van Halen ever toured Australia, believe it or not, with Gary as lead singer. And I think Pat, he's also appeared on a Van Halen live album, maybe a Sammy Hagar album as well. You were the Van Halen fan. You seem to be the one who missed out on all the work with the band. What happened?
It's the blessing was that I got to spend some time with Edward here and there, and he was always super gracious to me and really welcoming, because sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, with guitarists, and especially when you meet a hero of yours or somebody who really changed your life like he did. But we were always fans. Gary was as well, but me and Pat were big fans. But But listen, I was a big supporter. A lot of people think Gary left Extreme to go play with Van Halen. That wasn't the case. I was the jerk who left Extreme way
You
before
broke
Gary.
up the band.
You know, back then we didn't know that we could take a break. You know, we worked so much. We worked consistently, and we didn't have a right managers to tell us, guys, you know, you can take a break and you can go enjoy what you've done and spend time with your family. And instead we had the kind of management that was like, no, you got to keep it going. You know, you don't want to lose this. You don't want to lose the fans, and really burn us out, you know, to the point where we couldn't even, you break up over somebody opening the curtain too fast and the sun lines go, I quit the band. It's over. That's it. You know, and really, instead of, you know, I wish I was equipped and psychologically equipped to know that I didn't have to quit a band, that I could just take a break, you know. And I mean, eventually that's what it became, but it should have been much shorter, you know.
Well, you gave them the opportunity to do some Van Halen stuff, but Rihanna seems to have you on speed dial. You still on her speed dial?
I hope so, man. Look, you know, I did a few tours with her. I actually toured Australia as well, of course, but I didn't do the last tour with her because I wanted to kind of get back to the mothership, you know, the Extreme mothership, so to speak, and my rock and roll roots. But then, you know, got a nice call to come off the bench and do Super Bowl with her, even though I think they showed us on the telly, on the telly for 1.5 milliseconds. You had to like pause it and freeze it and see the blurred version of her walking by. But it was an amazing experience to be asked and to be a part of that. It was incredible.
Yeah, not as great as being on a Steel Panther record, though.
Hell
It
no.
won't suck itself. What a song to be chosen for.
I mean, that title alone, I was so jealous when I heard that title. I'm like, how brilliant, how genius. Yeah, that was an honor. It wasn't, you know, it was almost right up there with spending 3 days with Paul McCartney when I did the Grammys, and spending those 3 days close. Won't Suck Itself and McCartney were right there.
Yeah. Well, that song had Chad Kroeger on it. Then you also appeared on a Nickelback album. So, you know, you really are the man of choice.
I'm a bit of a whore. So however way you want to look at it.
Yeah. And of course, you know, that Australian connection, the time you spent with Suze, and you must be very proud of your daughter. She's doing some great stuff in acting at the moment.
Absolutely. Look, me and Susie are still great friends, and you know, and we connect obviously because of our kids. And you know, I'm still a Baby Animals fan, as I always was, and I always think, you know, Susie's still one of the great singers, rock and roll singers. And yeah, you know, BB's been a little actress since she's been born. And what makes me happy about what you just said, that I should be proud, I'm not proud of her, of what she's doing necessarily in film and television. I'm proud that she's doing what she loves to do, that makes her happy. I mean, that's all you want for your kids more than anything. I always told my kids, I don't care if you know, Lorenzo, my son, if you want to be the greatest garbage collector of all time on the back of that truck, and, you know, pretend it's the Titanic, and go do what you love to do, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah. Do they live in Australia or over in the US?
Yeah, they're actually, yeah. Lorenzo was here with me for quite a bit, and BB as well. You know, we were kind of, you know, whatever continent they were feeling at the time. And but you know, we tried to see them as much as possible in our own lanes. And Lorenzo, unfortunately, his last 3 years of high school here with me was through our lovely pandemic lockdown, and I think he lost, you know, that really that essential part of life, graduating high school and having those last 3 years with your mates and your friends. And I felt bad for him but he's in Australia right now with Susie and BB, and they'll come over. I'm actually heading over there with Extreme, as you know, I hope, in September. So I'm super excited to see the whole family there and come out to the shows. And maybe BB, now she's a big star, maybe she'll hang out with me. I don't know. Maybe if
we'll head to the gigs to see if Chris Hemsworth's hanging out backstage with you as well.
Exactly.
Now that she's starting a Chris movie.
You're right. Wow, I didn't think of that. That's good press for the band. Okay, BB, I'm going to give her a call.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to the shows in Australia with Living Colour. That's a great double. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, look, they're what I call one of the it shouldn't be the band, the land of the misfit toys, but the band of the misfit toys, because when Extreme was coming up, especially in the US, and we were always kind of that bastard child, if you will. Like, we had a bit this funk thing and horns, and then we did acoustic music, while a lot of the metal was going on, and a lot of promoters and people and label didn't know what to do with this a lot of the time. We always confused everybody, but we always had King's X, Living Color, a few other bands that were kind of outside the box like we were, and always were a little bit cut from that same cloth in the funkiness and the heavy funk department. So I'm really excited. I'm a big fan. I'm really excited to be doing this. We never toured with them. We've never done gigs with them, and Vernon's great, and so is the whole band. It's going to be a fun night, man.
Sure will be. Well, it's good to talk to you, Nuno, and looking forward to the shows.
Hey, thank you so much, man, for having me on. And I wish I had that record collection, man. I wish I did.
I wish I had a few of your.
I'll trade you. I'll trade you. All right, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
All
Appreciate it. All right, I'll see you soon.